Canadian nomads are talking about the Freedom Trucker Convoy. Well, somebody has to, because the media sure isn't. What's up, blind viewers? How's everybody doing today? All right, that's right. We're going to talk about the Canadians and what's going on up there, because it's affecting us too. Actually, it affects everybody. But yeah, it's not getting the coverage that I think it deserves or it demands, actually. So I guess we'll have to rely on our good old friends right here on YouTube.
I'm going to tell you what the United States has done. A Canadian trucker typically picks up his truck in Canada, drives to the United States or Mexico to pick up their goodies, and brings it back to Canada. Sleepy Joe Biden has, in fact, invoked the requirement of vaccines on January 22nd. So a trucker can't even go to the United States to pick up their produce or whatever goods they're picking up.
Gee, what he's talking about is the Canadians, they have a mandate where, you know, even if you are a Canadian, you can't leave the country and then come back in if you're a trucker. And it's the whole thing is nuts. And even Justin Credible has been talking about it too.
And big news, USA truckers are joining in as well, because it is freedom knows no borders, and the same problems are happening on both sides of the border. And I don't know the exact number. There are reports from 625 trucks to thousands of US trucks, US truckers joining in from multiple states. I do know that there are groups down there organizing to do this in solidarity with the Canadian truckers.
And reports are that if the U.S. truckers that can't get into Canada because they're not allowed unless they have their papers, show me your papers, they're going to park their rigs at the border. So if you're still a little confused here, this might clear it up a little bit.
The Canadian cross-border vaccine mandate applies only to truckers who move goods across the U.S.-Canadian border. Truckers who stay inside of Canada are not subject to this. The new rule, which took effect January 15th, requires all truckers be vaccinated or, if Canadian, quarantined for 14 days upon arrival in Canada. If you're not Canadian and not vaccinated, you cannot enter the country. The Canadian government estimates about 10 to 15% of their trucking population is unvaccinated. Of course, now that the definition of what is fully vaccinated could be changed to include boosters, my guess is that number would increase significantly. And of course, there's those looking to demonize and discredit the protest by claiming those who are participating are alt-right or anti-vaxxers. Gerald Butts, the former principal secretary to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, called the group separatists. So now people on social are equating the group to terrorists, which seems to be where we're at these days. Anyone protesting anything at all, be it police brutality, masking kids, election outcomes, and vaccine mandates, is now a radical terrorist in some form. I do want to read part of this statement that was released from the convoy. Quote, "The trucking convoy is not anti-vaccination. It is anti-government mandates. Many of us are vaccinated. We simply believe that every Canadian should be free to choose and face no discrimination or restrictions on their freedom due to their choice. The Canadian Trucking Alliance is a spineless private organization that does not speak for us. No more lockdowns, no forced vaccination."
There you have it. That's what this is all about. And as Linescrew put it earlier, that yes, the same's down here. The Canadians, unless they show proof, they can't even come into the country. So they're worried about them going back into Canada. Well, they can't even get here. And it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. I mean, even the woke lefties, they have to be able to see it. My blind ass can see it. What is the whole agenda here? What is the purpose? They claim that there's this huge supply chain issue and they blame it on the trucker. Well, there's not enough truckers. There's plenty of truckers. As we can see, there's millions of them all over the place and they're all protesting. So it's not the truckers. So who's causing this supply chain thing? Well, since they can't blame on the truckers, what are they going to do? Well, they'll make it so the truckers can't do their job, and they'll say, well, see, there's a supply chain issue because these people won't get vaccinated. It's all the truckers' fault. They are trying to control everything, even now the goods that we get, and they're going to blame it all on the supply chain so they can say, oh, well, here, This is what we're going to give you. This is what we're going to allow you. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like Russia way back when? What does that sound like? Oh, no. It's freedom. It's the woke folks. This is what we're all for. Let everybody come in across the borders at the south, you know, down the Mexico way. Let them fled the United States. But a working trucker bringing us food and supplies? No. You have to prove that you've been vaccinated. Now, the hundreds of thousands of immigrants that come in, they don't have to prove shit. But we'll give them housing and medical and all kinds of other attention. But they come in. Not a problem. But again, a trucker doing his job, bringing us shit that we need. We must see your papers. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And by the way, that awesome vaccine that everybody, oh, these anti-vaxxers, oh, that's all. They're not anti-vaxxers. You heard them. Most of them are vaccinated. They just don't want to have to show their papers. These truckers, they have enough shit to show. They have enough things to show and prove. They have logbooks. They have to prove where they bought fuel and how they paid taxes. They have all kinds of shit that they have to show. They shouldn't have to prove that they were vaccinated. I mean, yeah, these guys travel through different countries on the continent and through different states. But who's a more isolated batch of people living in their truck by themselves, just driving along? Maybe they might have a partner, but it isn't like they're roaming around spreading anything anyway. They're isolated folks. They pull up somewhere, they back in, their truck gets unloaded, and they drive off. They sign some papers and away they go. But anyway, this whole thing, this you must be, well, let's hear what the CEO of Pfizer, that's right, the ones that make the shot that you're getting, what did he say about the shot?
And we know that the 2 doses of the vaccine offer very limited protection, if any. The 3 doses with a booster, they offer reasonable protection against hospitalization and deaths. Against deaths, I think very good. And less protection against infection. Now, we are working on a new version of our vaccine, the 1.
In case you didn't hear his broken English and his little dialect, he said that the shots provide little, if any, protection. Now, the booster, yeah, they don't provide any protection against infection. They just keep you from going to the hospital. So run out and get this stuff and then prove that you got this shit that doesn't work from the guy who makes the shit. But we're going to keep these truckers from bringing you your supplies, and then we'll blame it on them because we want to control everything in your life now. It has to be. What else can it be? What else can it be? Why else would they be doing this to these truckers? These leaders are saying, hey, we are going to make sure that we control everything. You want toilet paper? Well, when we let you have it, you'll get it. We'll make sure that you stay home and you do everything on your computer so we can follow every single thing that you do, every click that you make, every thought that you have, everything that you say here on YouTube. We're going to make sure we do it because you're not going to be able to go outside because we are going to control your life. Why else would they be even making a supply chain issue that they are claiming that is out of their control? Why would they do everything in their power to make it even worse? Why? Oh, and let's not forget what, it's all about this pandemic and protecting us from all this. Well, then why? Why is California recycling? That's right, running shields through the shredder because they left more than $10 million worth of masks and other PPE outside to be ruined. Outside to be ruined. It's so important. It's so important that you get vaccinated. It's so important that you protect yourself and others from this horrible thing. It's so important that we contain the spread of this deadly disease. hey, that we're just going to fuck up everything that we have, that over $10 million worth of shit that can protect you and everybody else and protect the spread of this horrible disease, this infection, this pandemic. We're going to control it by what? Destroying over $10 million worth of personal protection equipment and then going ahead and sending it to the shredder to be shredded. Not to a landfill where people might be able to rummage through and find the shit. No, we're going to shred that shit so nobody can use it. So why else would they be doing this shit? Why would they allow this shit to happen if it is so crucial that we have to get vaccinated and we have to protect ourselves? I call horse shit. This is bullshit. And why isn't the media all over this truckers thing? If it was anything else, they'd be all over it. We'd be seeing it on the news. We'd be bombarded with it every 15 seconds. No, because they don't want to hear it. They don't want anything to do with it. Because then who are they going to blame if they can't blame the poor truckers on this supply chain? There is no supply chain shortage. They're making it all up to control us and keep us locked down in our damn houses, and they're going to spoon feed us whatever they feel like giving us. So in other words, you're going to have nothing and you're going to like it. You don't have to agree with me. That's never the point here.
This is BlindViews, and that's the way I see it.
What we do here is go back.